since we're here in Los Angeles, I was remembering how one time Prabhupada, that was when the temple room was in where the Fate Museum is now. And so Prabhupada used to come in the back door and then walk up to pay obeisances to the deities and everything, and then sit down at his Vyasasan. So Prabhupada came in the back door, and as soon as he came in, he cocked his head back, like you've seen how Prabhupada does, you know. And he said, "What is there in Krishna's eye?" And all I know is from that back door to where the little, because we only had the little deities that time, from that back door I can't even see if Krishna has an eye, what to speak of see what's in Krishna's eye. And Prabhupada said, "What is that in Krishna's eye?" And even the pujaris who were right up there, it took them 2 minutes, they were just looking all around trying to figure out, and they finally found some piece of the tilak. When they had put the tilak on, little splinter of tilak had fallen down in Krishna's eye. And we were all totally shocked. One time, this was, I can't remember what year, but now we were into where the temple room is now, and Prabhupada was sitting in that big Vyasasan there. And he gave a lecture, and at the end of the lecture, Prabhupada said, "So if you will just follow these 4 regulative principles and chant 16 rounds, then you will go back to home, back to Godhead. I guarantee it." And Prabhupada paused, and he just sort of looked around at all of us. And then again he said, "I guarantee it." So we were walking down the beach, and so Dr. Judah said, "Prabhupada, what do you do about the question of lust?" And Prabhupada stopped, and he dug his cane in the sand. He said, "Unless you become Krishna conscious, there's no solution." He said, "You have to become Krishna conscious. Otherwise, there's no solution to this lust." And then he walked on, and again he repeated. He said, if you become Krishna conscious, then this question of lust is solved. Otherwise, you cannot solve it any other way. Which is like Prabhupada was saying, you know, that you can do so many things. You can cut down eating your sweets, or you can, you know, do so many things, you know, have, you know, defense mechanisms like young brahmacharis that women are snakes and this and that. He said, but unless you become Krishna conscious, you know, you just go on with your service, become Krishna conscious, and you can overcome this. And I remember one time, must have been 1970, we came out for Rath Yatra, but we knew that Prabhupada was in LA, so we drove out from Boulder and we came to LA first. And that was the very beginning when Prabhupada started the Govinda prayers. Before that, that wasn't, you know, that's taken for granted now. In the very beginning of the movement, we didn't have Govinda prayers. So it was either like the second or maybe the third day that they were playing Jamuna's tape of the Govinda prayers. So Prabhupada came in, and they played the tape, and he paid his obeisance, he took the charnamrita, and he sat down on the Vyasasan. And he was singing along and just sort of, not clapping his hands, but just, you know, like this. And suddenly we saw tears were just gliding down Prabhupada's cheeks. And we were all just like feeling, you know, who are we to be present in the presence of, you know, Prabhupada experiencing these ecstatic symptoms, you know, just like one of the, you know, lift up one of those old linoleum tiles, you know, and crawl under, you know, just, you know, we just felt like so low. What are we doing here, you know? And then Prabhupada suddenly, he just, big sniff, and he wiped his face like that, and then he just started chanting the Isopanishad mantras, because those days he was teaching, you know. He just started just like an old, always thought it was like a sea captain, you know. He would just sit there, Om Purnam Adaha Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Evavashishate. This very deep, rich voice, you know, it just sounded like, to me it reminded me like a sea captain. I remember those were, every day he would, you know, teach us another verse, and we would chant all the way up to that verse, and then he would teach